And welcome to the celebrated nightly news of Calaveras County. My name's John.
And I'm Kim.
And we thank you for stopping by on Hump Day.
Hump Day. Happy Hump Day.
Now,
Wednesday.
this is...
Wednesday evening.
It is. It's Wednesday evening.
Yeah.
Now, with the risk of veering off into shaky territory, I wanted to touch on this just a little bit. This has been hit multiple news outlets. So if you've heard about this someplace else,
are you going right to the Ben and Jerry story?
I am.
How did I know you would start with that?
No, it was just no. I just thought for most of you that know PETA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, is calling on Ben and Jerry's to move part of their ice cream production away from bovine milk to breast milk. And it just seems a little disturbing on a lot of different levels, but it's true. So
why don't you go ahead and read the press release?
Our headline was, "Move over, Cherry Garcia. Is there a new Cheech and Chong flavor in Ben and Jerry's future?"
Okay.
We hope not. And even...
We hope not.
We really hope not, but... And I guess we'll
Why don't you read a little
the
bit
press
on it?
release. It's really kind of disturbing.
Okay.
But anyway, all right.
I knew you were going to top off the news tonight with the Cheech and Chong. I knew it. He thought of that today when he was reading it in the national news. He thought,
Cheech and
immediately,
Chong.
off the top of his head, he came up with a new flavor, Cheech and Chong, right?
Should we submit our flavor's name to
Ben and Jerry's? You never know, we might win some.
There you go.
Some Cheech and Chong ice cream.
I don't know if I want Cheech and Chong ice cream. Anyway, that's... Yeah, should we read the press release?
Sure, I think so.
Why? All right, we'll read the press release. All right. And this is from one of the... Tracy Ryman, who's an executive VP at PETA. And this is to Ben Cohen and Jerry Greenfield, who are the co-founders of
Which
Ben
we
and Jerry's.
actually visited.
We did, and you know what?
It's pretty cool.
I've actually met one of them.
Yes, I know you have.
I did.
Back
in the day, in the 80s.
When you sold frozen yogurt.
I actually met Ben.
Well, we actually took our kids, and we took a trip across the United States in a motorhome when our Granger was in first grade, and that was one of the places we visited, was the Ben and Jerry's plant. Remember that?
Yes.
And they gave us Cherry Garcia ice cream to test, didn't they?
Not Cheech and Chong.
No, it was Cheech and Chong. It was Chunky Monkey. That's right. Chunky Monkey.
Dear Mr. Cohen and Mr. Greenfield, on behalf of PETA and the more than 2 million members and supporters, I'd like to bring your attention to an innovative new idea from Switzerland that would bring a unique twist to Ben and Jerry's. Storchen, a restaurant, is set to unveil a menu that includes soups, stews, and sauces made with at least 75% breast milk, procured from human donors who are paid in exchange for their milk. So it'll be kind of like people who are selling plasma in the big cities. Is that the...
So if you're lactating, give Ben and Jerry's a call. Right?
Okay. If Ben and Jerry's replace the cow's milk in its ice cream with breast milk, your customers and cows would reap the benefits. Using cow's milk for your ice cream is a hazard to your customers' health. Dairy products have been linked to juvenile diabetes, allergies, constipation, obesity, prostate, and ovarian cancer. The late Dr. Benjamin Spock, America's leading authority on child care, spoke out against feeding cow's milk to children, saying it may play a role in anemia, allergies, and juvenile diabetes, and in the long term will set your kids up for obesity. Okay,
anyway, so...
Animals will also benefit. Cows only produce milk during and after pregnancy, so to be able to constantly milk them, cows are forcefully impregnated every 9 months. after several years of living this, so basically they produce 10 anyway.
Okay. So anyway. So I think you better hurry to get that submitted before somebody steals your idea.
And the last paragraph, the breast is best. Won't you give cows and their babies a break and our health a boost by switching to cow's milk to breast milk and Ben & Jerry's ice cream? Thank you for your consideration.
Yes. Do you think they're going to consider it?
I doubt it, because there's all kinds of health and sanitation. Mm-hmm. Because not that I think people are unclean per se, but in some ways I would feel a lot more comfortable drinking milk from a dairy.
Yes. Okay, here we go. On to the next news subject for the evening.
Yes. Now
a new program is being offered, which is a very cool program offered by the Calaveras Humane Society with support of the Calaveras Animal Services, called the 55-5 program. Calaveras County, California, there is a very special program now being offered, the 55-5 program. This program is a senior pet adoption program under the umbrella of the Calaveras County Humane Society with support from Calaveras Animal Services. The program has been adopted to enable senior citizens ages 55 and older to adopt their dog or cat from the Calaveras Animal Shelter at minimal or no charge.
Okay.
Isn't that nice? This program is funded solely by donations and fundraisers. And they are also holding an Adopt a Pet this Saturday at the Calaveras Animal Services, and this is kind of where they will be actually presenting. There will be volunteers on hand with the new 55-5 program for senior adoption. Mm-hmm. Very cool program. I think very nice, right? Get some of those dogs adopted. There's some cute ones out there. It's amazing how many actually go. I mean, people are adopting the dogs.
As the one great. We talked about that.
Yes, he even had the crooked leg.
But he wasn't affected by it,
no,
so he was able to just put himself out there.
He was strong and mighty, and he was like a little super dog.
Even with his
wonder dog. Yes.
Even with his.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, and we'll go through some hard news pieces and want to. Hoyt Elkins and the Democrat wrote a nice piece on details emerging from the Avery shooting,
which occurred.
This is the brother versus brother that we broke and covered, over that course of that weekend, and the man subsequently turned himself in a week or so ago.
And thankfully, the brother was not injured.
Yes.
Yes.
An Avery man Monday described how his brother looked him in the eye and shot him through the shoulder at a birthday party last month, leaving a bullet lodged near his spine. James Wilson, 37, was the only witness at the preliminary hearing Monday in Calaveras County Superior Court dealing with the August 23 shooting. Lee Rod Wilson, 39, is charged with assault with a deadly weapon. The shooting occurred at James Wilson's home in Avery, where a birthday party was being held for his oldest daughter. Lee Rod arrived about an hour after the party started, according to the James testimony, and struck up a conversation with the two brothers' daughters while James was inside watching a movie. No one responded. James asked through a window what they were talking about. When no one responded, he cautioned his brother not to come between me and my daughters. Okay. A short time later, James reported hearing shots outside. When he assumed his brother was the shooter, he told the court he went outside to tell his brother to leave. When he went outside, he testified Lee Rod took 4 or 5 steps toward him, pointed the pistol, and fired.
Oh, my goodness.
Went through his shoulder and lodged in his back. Doctors tried unsuccessfully to remove it at the Modesto Hospital, and the slug sank closer to his spinal cord. A specialist is scheduled to make another attempt to remove it.
So
we haven't removed it.
That. Okay.
In a cross-examination, Lee Rod's attorney asked if James had ever known the pistol to misfire. He said no, that before the day of the shooting, he hadn't seen the pistol in 15 years. It was the father's pistol. Okay.
Can you imagine that? Brother against brother. That's terrible. I didn't know if they would make up afterwards. I didn't know what kind of relationship they would have after this. I mean, you don't know. I mean, that's very sad, really.
Yeah. You don't really know. And other stuff that's been covered locally a little bit is the one of the original Paws elephants has passed away. And a cold and arid winter is being predicted.
Okay.
So cold and dry is not good.
No, we don't want cold and dry. We want lots of snow. Okay. We did have a major injury vehicle head-on collision this morning. There was actually in Valley Springs.
Yes.
Where there was a mother in critical condition, and she had two children in the car, 8 and 4, and they suffered minor injuries.
And this accident caused quite a bit of traffic disruption in the Valley Springs area this morning.
Where did it occur?
It was on Highway 26, just east of the Paloma Road.
About 8 a.m. this morning, 8:30
Yeah,
this
about 8
morning.
a.m. this morning. And one of the things is, we didn't even mention in our reporting on it this morning that there were 2 kids in the car, but that did come up on the incident report as we were watching it. And it was just like, you could tell probably mom taking kids to school or something like that. It's like, why bring it up?
Kids are okay.
But it looks like the mom was pinned in the vehicle because they had to extricate her from the vehicle. And from the look at it this morning, she was in the vehicle for probably over an hour before they were able to remove her.
Okay.
So hopefully she makes a full recovery, because they said it. The report came in as major injuries, but we understand maybe later maybe a little more, maybe critical.
So our thoughts go out to that family.
Yes, thoughts and prayers to that family this evening, because the next few weeks or months at least will be probably kind of interesting.
There's actually also another accident this evening, and that was actually happened over in Amador County. Ambulance with possible Medi-Flight responding to a vehicle collision at Highway 88 and Cook Station Road, and that occurred that was this afternoon, it seemed like it was only a few hours ago.
Yeah.
4 o'clock this afternoon. Now what's McCain up to?
Now a little bit on national news, and we posted this because we thought it was the news that he announced that he's suspending his campaign because of the national
already
economic.
Had 30 comments on it.
Yeah, the national economic series. Now we've had some comments on there like, why didn't you post Obama's comments on the economy? This one we posted because the news, from our perspective, the real news piece was that he was going to suspend his campaign for a few days. Which in some ways
not be present for the debate this Friday night.
Right.
So.
But the other thing on it is, we thought a little bit tongue-in-cheek, is that a couple months ago there was a big kind of brouhaha with the New York Times and the fact that they published one of Obama's letters to the editors, or an op-ed piece by Barack Obama, but wouldn't publish one of John McCain's.
Okay.
So this was, in our small, feeble way, to level the playing field a tiny bit, because
it wasn't.
Because if McCain couldn't get something posted on the New York Times, then
he could get something posted
on the PineTree.net.
So
So I think that that was our small.
I didn't think about posting his response. Did you? I just thought this was the
well, the news piece is that he was suspending his campaign,
exactly.
But that was the reason.
And they're saying he's behind now. McCain's behind now in the polls.
The economic stuff has not been good to McCain
it hasn't.
as far as poll numbers.
Exactly.
But so,
now, what do you think is going to happen with? Do you think Obama's going to be bringing Hillary on board?
I don't know.
Have you heard more about that?
Well, if he stays up in the polls, he probably won't need to.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. You're right. Because it's all of a sudden a big jump within the last week or so. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
And also want to mention is it's only 6 days left until the new big box store comes to Angels Camp. Now, as you recall, we talked about this last week. Scott's Distributing will be opening their warehouse starting next Wednesday, October 1st.
Yes.
So you can go buy. Basically, it's going to be the old style cash and carry, wholesale to the public, a la Costco, Smart and Final type of
cleaning supplies, toilet paper, snacks, right?
And they'll save you that trip down the hill.
And save you money too, because it's wholesale prices. So.
Yep.
And if you were smelling smoke today, it was from a 90% contained 3,700-acre fire in the Tulare County area.
Kings Canyon National Park.
We were over in Arnold today, and you could definitely see the smoke, smell the smoke, and so we called and found out there was actually a pretty large fire going on. It's been going on for a couple of days, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
We
have a new executive director for the Ebbets Pass Scenic Byway
Association. Of course we do.
Association.
Want to say congratulations.
Yes. to Warren Alford has been named new executive director of the Ebbets Pass Scenic Byway Association. He will do awesome at this, I think.
He will.
He's the perfect guy for it.
Yep.
This guy's one busy guy.
Yeah.
The Ebbets Pass Scenic Byway Association today announced the appointment of Warren Alford as the new executive director. Alford is a fourth-generation resident of the Sierra whose background includes nearly 15 years of working in the nonprofit sector. He's doing that. Plus, he's in charge of the Rim Trail. He's just a busy guy. Very nice man.
Yes.
Yeah, very nice family.
And Warren has a deep fourth generation. Let's see. With a deep family history in the area and enthusiasm and experience to help us make great things happen, said
Yes.
Calaveras County Supervisor Marita Calloway. Mm-hmm. This is going to benefit both Calaveras and Alpine counties. Yes. The Ebbets Pass National Scenic Byway Corridor Management Plan provides the vision, goals, management recommendations for protecting and enhancing the 58-mile portion of State Highway 4 referred to as Ebbets Pass National Scenic Byway.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations, Warren.
Also, I want to remind everybody there are 2 candidates' evenings going on tomorrow night. The first one is the Greater Valley Springs Advisory Group will feature a question and answer session with Supervisor candidates Zero McDaniel and Gary Toffanelli at the,
Methodist Church.
The Methodist Church in Valley Springs, 7 p.m. tomorrow evening. And the Chamber of Commerce is also holding a candidates' night tomorrow evening, which will feature District 4 Supervisor Tom Tryon and Lee Seaton. The 4 City Council candidates, Jack Boating, Jay Shoup, Craig Turco, and Elaine Morris will also be present, and they will be discussing Measure K.
And the PineTree.net will be streaming it live.
Yes.
So if you can't make it, or if you're traveling away on vacation or something like that, and you want to catch up on local debate.
Yes. And the reason we're streaming this one is because John is on the chamber board, so we can't stream the other one at the same time, right?
But you're going to that one, right?
I don't want anything biased here.
You're going to that one, right?
I guess I'm going to the other one. To Valley Springs.
You're going to be the on the spot Valley Springs report.
Yeah.
All right.
Probably can't live stream it though. I don't know how to do that. So.
All right. One little update is I know we talked about this a couple days ago, but the motorized dancing or the rock ballet. That was the Bear Valley Trials competition. We have the photos and video up on the site now, so if you want to check that out,
okay,
it's a lot of fun.
It is also homecoming week for both high schools here in Calaveras County. All the homecoming festivities. When's the parade and all that?
Friday,
and then both homecoming games are Friday evening
night
for Calaveras High School and Bret Hart.
It's going to be a busy weekend.
Yes.
Friday night is homecoming for not one but both high schools,
yes.
And then on Saturday we have the Ironstone Concourse, when between 300 and 400 of the prettiest cars you'll see will take up their once-a-year residence on Ironstone's groomed grounds. And then there's going to be all kinds of stuff going on this weekend.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff. So we have the candidates' nights. We have Black Bart Players auditions for ladies in retirement are continuing tomorrow evening at the Black Bart Playhouse. If you're interested in, I don't know if you're interested in that or not, John, but maybe you should go try out, audition.
Are you saying I'm a lady in retirement?
I don't know. I wish you were, right? I don't know.
And the Calaveras County Artist Studio Tour is this weekend.
Yes, it's continuing. Yes, continuing. It started a few weeks ago, and it continues through October. And
we have a nice piece. Donna Stevenson did a very nice piece on recession recovery and what some of the recoveries look like, and her piece covers the 15-month recession that was from, started in the early part of the 80s as we were coming out of the hangover from the late 70s.
Yes.
And this is interesting. At the height of that, 10.5% of Americans were out of work, 28% of teenagers, 20% of African Americans. That was the highest unemployment rate since the Great Depression. 17,000 businesses failed during the downturn. A bear market was firmly in place, and that's the interesting thing that we're not even close to that right now. We're in much better shape.
Yes, exactly.
The GDP numbers and employment numbers are in much better shape right now. So interesting thing that even in our near recent history,
this has happened before.
Yeah, but she's a very, very well written, very nice piece on that.
She's
so
actually been sending us a couple of articles
yes, if
a
you
week.
want to, and that's on the front of our site. So we just kind of have some interesting numbers on that, but it's worth a look.
Mm-hmm. And our local government agencies are waiting for state funding.
They are.
I'm sure they are. Once now that the budget has passed, they are waiting for their funding, right?
Yeah.
I would imagine that they would be anxious to get that rolling. This is coming from My Mother Lode, KVML. With a $146 billion state budget now signed, local agencies are anxiously awaiting funds that have been withheld over recent months. Director Liz Sewell of the Mountain Women's Resource Center estimates that once the proper paperwork is completed, it will still take around 90 days to receive the funding that has been withheld since July 1st. Let me see. So I imagine a lot of those state agencies out there are anxious to get their money, right? That's actually over in Tuolumne County. Sorry about that.
No, it's I'm sure all of them are.
On CCWD.
Oh, just more a little bit. It looks like they're going to... Lehman, as you may recall, last week over in Tuolumne County, there was some issues with some of the Lehman Brothers bonds that were there. And it looks like that CCWD had purchased $1.25 million worth of Lehman Brothers bonds, but it looks like their exposure won't be quite as much. They're not anticipating any real heavy losses for CCWD.
Okay. Is there any state news you want to talk about? It's kind of a quiet news night this evening. We haven't had a whole lot of stuff happening today.
Well, I think it's kind of an interesting news cycle in the fact that, I mean, McCain is ostensibly on the surface of suspending his campaign to go back to Washington. So a lot of this stuff is everybody's waiting for the other shoe to drop,
exactly.
Or it's just really interesting piece. I mean, for example, the economic stuff is. It's nobody really knows
what's happening.
What's going on?
Exactly.
For example, the House today passed a $25 billion, in essence, stimulus package for the automakers.
Okay.
And to help them modernize and things like that. It's.
I see Sarah Palin talked with Katie Couric.
Katie Couric. Action had to be taken there. One of the nation's largest car dealerships is closing 14 of the big mega dealerships.
Wow.
So it's an interesting people. And President Bush addressed the nation tonight and said the USA in the midst of a serious financial crisis. It's tough stuff.
I'll campaign for Obama after the Jewish holidays. That's what Clinton says. What does that mean?
Not really sure.
Which Clinton is that, Mrs. or Mr. saying that?
Don't know. Not even going to go there. And Al Gore is calling for civil disobedience to stop coal plants.
Okay.
And hot dogs prompt an evacuation of Phillies ballpark.
You know, we haven't talked about in a while is weather. We always seem like we're too busy to talk about weather. We have so much stuff to talk about, and tonight we actually have time to talk about weather, I think.
We do?
We do. Let's go to Arnold weather. How about that? We haven't talked weather in weeks, John. Weeks!
All right.
Let me see. Tonight, Arnold, clear, low of 60. Tomorrow, sunny, high of 82. Thursday night, clear, low of 62. Friday, sunny, high of 83. Friday night, clear, low of 60. Saturday, high of 83. And Saturday night, low of 61. Or Bear Valley. Want me to do weather?
Oh, go ahead. You're the weather.
Okay.
Are you the weather?
For Bear Valley, tonight, clear, low of 45. Tomorrow, high of 75, which is perfect for Bear Valley. Friday, high of 77. Saturday, high of 77. And let me see, on Sunday, a high of 75. And for Murphy's, tonight, low of 58. Tomorrow, high of 92. We're getting back up in the 90s again. Friday, high of 92. Saturday, high of 90. And Sunday, let me see, high of 89. For Angels Camp, tonight, low of 63. Tomorrow, high of 94. Friday, high of 94. Saturday, high of 92. Thought we were done with those 90s. And Sunday, high of 91. This doesn't feel like fall weather to me.
Not yet.
Not yet. It's funny how it all of a sudden just sneaks up on you, doesn't it?
And a little tiny bit from President Bush's address of the nation tonight on the economic issues. we've overcome tough challenges before, and we'll overcome this one. I know that Americans sometimes get discouraged by the tone in Washington and the seemingly endless partisan struggles, yet history has shown that in times of real trial, elected officials rise to the occasion, and together we will show the world once again what kind of country America is. A nation that tackles problems head-on, where leaders come together, meet great tests, and where people of every background can work hard, develop their talents, and realize their dreams. So, a little bit of an upbeat spin on some of the some of the financial crisis, and we know things. That's one the great thing about the U.S. and a lot of the democracies is they just kind of keep cruising along. But if when they really have a trial or a test, that's when they do their best. And we were talking with somebody earlier, is the people that keep their heads about them, keep a level head the next couple years, no panic. Sometimes you may have to take some losses
don't quit,
run.
Don't give up.
There's probably going to be some great fortunes and some great things made in times like this. So, I think one of the things I was talking about is we're going to try to post a couple upbeat pieces every day now. We'll try to, because
it's kind of depressing. Life's kind of depressing. people get upset with us for posting the upbeat pieces of, So.
Well, and one thing though is just if you think, and this is a small piece for today, if you think your life could not get worse or you're a little depressed, just think, if you're a woman in the audience, you could be married to me. And that would be much worse than any current fate, right? Any current fate that you're being subjected to now. So that's one thing. You could feel good for Schadenfreude in the fact that at least I'm not married to that moron. And on that note, good night.
We'll see you back here tomorrow night. Thanks.